I graduated in 1974, and I couldn't practice any of this. I couldn't dance. I couldn't pray. I couldn't smoke. It was against the law. I come to this place and it can make me very sad, but to be with all of you gives me hope, and it makes me proud, because I know now that there are leaders that will go out there, that will change things, that will make it better, that will keep this going for our people. Share everything that's been shared with you. And thank you. Thank you for who you are. You've just been so wonderful, and you've been so respectful. It's really an honor to be with you on this trip.
From the Standing Rock Reds, Dakota warriors, but they cut the snake's head off with its head, off with its head. No Dakota access, this is all for the kids. Shout out the chairman Archambault and the whole tribe. The government stole the Black Hills for gold mines. Now they wanna kill the water with the ore lines, but I spread the message with these cold rhymes. Real facts, real life, and the whole truth. Big McWitch to my man Dallas Gold Tooth. I stand with Standing Rock. Middle finger to the Morton County cops. You fed the belly of the beast, now we getting full. Man, you messing with descendants of Sitting Bull. Yeah, throw your fist in the air. Time to let the people know why the hell we here. I stand with Standing Rock. 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 I stand with Standing Rock.
On April 20th, 2017, a group of students and educators gathered at North Hennepin Community College for the opening ceremony of the 3rd Annual American Indian Research Rights Tour.
It can be scary to think about being on a 5-day tour of Minnesota and reservations and doing a lot of learning, but it's really beneficial, and you make really good friendships with people and learn a lot about yourself, and that's the most important part. You get to form your identity.
So learning other people's identities really help with my identity and trying to learn about my history, what really happened, the truth, and
just to go the extra mile for people in your local community. And
learning from all these people, I realized that just signing a petition or going to a protest, that's not the only way you can make a stand.
To just be able to have that knowledge of the Native American community and to be able to learn firsthand what those traditions mean.
It just makes me want to make people more aware of what's going on in the world and just help out my people.
Being Native to me is the most important facet of who I am, and that being a PhD student and wanting to be a teacher and being Native are all super interrelated to me. So I think in that sense the tour definitely helped kind of solidify that understanding of who I am and who I want to be.
Never be ashamed. Dig more into your culture and the other Native cultures, and be proud of who you are, even if you don't look Native. And you got the blood running through you. Be proud of that.
One of our elders, his name is Dave Larson. During our first tour, he had said, "I'd like to see the students feel more Indigenous when they get off that bus." And so that's part of our goal, is not only to expose our students to other college opportunities from Fond du Lac to Leech Lake Tribal to Bemidji State to University of Minnesota Morris. Not only is it to expose them to opportunities for higher education, but it's also to expose them to community leaders and elders that have lived the life, and to teach them ways and strategies to stay connected to their own culture, and then also to broaden their own world perspective, to help them to see the world in a new way and to see their culture in a new way, and to help them to be more connected to their identity.
And I really liked how they bring in high school students together, community college students, and students at a four-year university together, because we have so many different stages in life and our identities.
The first stop on our trip was Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College, where we heard from students interested in keeping their language and customs alive.
As cities were not always around. We were not always a civilized people, no matter where you come from. Your people were at one time in touch with the earth. For me, being Native is getting back in touch with my cultural ways and traditions and my language, which I'm happy to study. It's a hard work.
Even though I'm a college student at the U of M, Twin Cities, I definitely enjoyed seeing, getting to tour other schools, other tribal colleges, and schools like U of M Morris and Bemidji State, to see like what kind of different things they're doing, especially in their Native communities. At Bemidji, they had a huge, they had like a separate building, beautiful with like lots of cultural arts, and that was really cool to see how Natives were represented on their campus, and they had that space.
In the American Indian Resource Center at Bemidji State, Michael Lane and Sharon Heda spoke to us about the moral and legal implications of treaties signed between Indian nations and the federal government.
We have responsibilities to the land and to the waters. We have responsibilities to this continuing these ways of life. And it's these responsibilities that we reserve through treaties. Because on that triple wampum and that basis of equitability, what we're looking at is a concept of being two distinct peoples. Equality means the same, equitability means the same status. So equality would be more of an assimilationist approach. Equitability means not great father and son, whatever the heck, it means same status. That's really important to understand that when you understand the nature of these treaties, they're more than just legal obligations. They're spiritual obligations.
And I have an obligation now, whether I like it or not, to speak out.
I think someone mentioned Standing Rock. I learned something about that. And a lot of people there weren't there because they said, oh, it looks like something fun to do. A lot of people were there because they thought a responsibility. The Native Standing Rock was standing up, not because they said, well, we're kind of bored here. I think we'll go on a major lawsuit and get a major battle with this energy company. They had a responsibility to their people. Their responsibility to protect the lands and the waters.
We come from the land and water. There's nowhere else on this earth where we come from.
Something that surprised me was when we were in Bemidji and we were talking about the Chief Bemidji statue.
He was a Native man who lived in the Cass Lake, Leech Lake, east of Bemidji area. And in his growing up and young adulthood through the Mississippi River would always come up to this area for harvesting and for hunting and that kind of thing. And at some point, at about age 50, his wife died. He and his children and other family members and other community members from that region came over here and on the south shore of Lake Bemidji had their community. And so Shina-Wishkung was known primarily at the beginning and the old stories as being one of the first people who greeted the white settlers when they came to Bemidji. He was well revered enough that it's very uncommon, apparently, according to people in the art world, for a statue to be erected in somebody's honor while they're still alive.
There's plaques that talked about the atrocities that happened against American Indian people in Bemidji and the amount of pushback that people were getting for that.
Like they just kept rewriting and rewriting and pushing and pushing.
The Bemidji City Council went through about 20 revisions of that text because they felt like highlighting atrocities was only making racism worse.
And then they finally got the statue erected.
It's surprising that people think that you can just erase history and that'll erase the effects of it.
When we were up in Bemidji, we went over to the old Pomaida that had closed down.
My name is Jim Jones. I'm the Culture Resource Director with the Minnesota Indian Affairs Council.
Being at the Dakota Burial Grounds in Bemidji as an Anishinaabe person, to think about how our histories are intertwined with different people and to always be aware like that we are on Dakota land.
You talk about that in a classroom, but when I sat there and I seen those students just so attentive to hearing that story, and they could feel it, see it firsthand, and the opportunity to be a part of that prayer for our elders, that was just a huge moment.
In Red Lake, we took a tour of the fisheries and heard from Red Lake rapper Thomas X.
I guess I hadn't really realized how widespread their business was in terms of shipping fish. And I guess when I thought of fisheries, I kind of thought of there's live fish, instead of it being processing large amounts of fish and then shipping them out. So that was really kind of eye-opening.
I think one of my favorites as a musician and activist was meeting Thomas X and getting to hear his journey and what he's doing for his community.
He gave us a little rap and how he feels about the world and how people need to learn their culture.
He inspired me to do more for my people and to take a stand.
So in 1863, Red Lake signed a treaty with the government, us and the Pembina tribe, which is known as the Turtle Mountain tribe in North Dakota. Red Lake is one of two tribes that we solely own our reservation land, the whole thing. We've always had a passion to resist from a lifestyle that wasn't naturally ours. But not that it was a bad thing, not that we just wanted to reject what was trying to be put on us. It's just we just had so much pride for who we were. And since those chiefs set that precedent, it still lives within us today. Because there was policies from Native American people to terminate us, terminate our lives, and then terminate our culture. And Red Lake was one of the tribes in Minnesota strongly affected by the boarding school era. Just my grandparents, 2 generations ago, both were taking the boarding schools at the age of 7 all the way till they were 18. So that right there, that's the disconnection from my culture, because my grandparents' first language, it was Ojibwe. They grew up speaking Ojibwe language. And then they go to boarding school, they get taught English and Christianity, so they lose their culture, they lose their language. I saw a quote recently that made me feel better, because I get I get anxiety, I get real bummed out about things that are happening around the world. It's I want to help so many things. So I saw this thing that said, think globally, but act and rise up locally. So be aware of what's going on out there, know what's right, know what kind of difference you want to make, and make it happen at home. I can't go save the rainforest right now. As much as I want to go stand in front of a machine that's chopping down trees, as much as I want to stop water from being polluted everywhere, I got battles right here at home that I got to take care of.
Rap for my people. This that's been a double R sequel. Got my bar set. Your boy be the kid like a young Garnett. Heavy on my grind cause I ain't a star yet. Saying I ain't nice, you just sounding far-fetched. Flip the bird for the haters like Jafar's pet. Flow floating, ain't no magic carpet. I got a fresh.
The red road isn't straight. The red road has hills and it has curves and it's life. So, and you know what? There's even a few detours once in a while that you might take a while to come back, but that's, in the end, that's who you are.
At the Lower Sioux Agency, we heard from Super about his life journey.
You reach a certain point where, okay, I'm sober now, but inside there's something missing. I knew I was missing something, and that was the spiritual part. You know, there's something about art that feeds the soul, and something about dancing that feeds the soul. Learning a spiritual life doesn't cost anything. You know, there's no money involved. It's just learning to be responsible. You know, because I'm in the recovery movement, I'm big into spirituality, responsibility. You know, no blame. God damn it. My life isn't because I'm Indian. You know. Oh God, I get sick of that. I hear that once in a while. I drink. Why you drink? Because I'm Indian. God damn it, I hate that. That's really screwed up thinking.
Then Super showed us some of his artwork. He talked about reconnecting with his culture later in life and shared with us the inspiration behind a deer hide vest he had beaded.
And we went through Custer State Park, and that was in the, you know, that was before the tourist season was, so the roads in the state park are, man, you could just travel. You're never going to. I was exceeding. What I was telling you was I was exceeding the speed limit, so to speak. And then I quick got an image, and I quick got an image in my mind of a buffalo and a warning. And I might have even braked, or I slowed, really immediately slowed down. And when we were coming like this, and the road was going down there, and I was like this, goes up. This huge buffalo was walking up the middle of the road, and I would have. My wife ex-wife at the time, she says, "Well, you're lucky you slowed down." And I said, "Well, I didn't tell her that, but in my mind I was thinking, no, there was no luck there." Because we would have had at least a terrible accident, if not death. So I always think there was some kind of a spiritual connection between me and that buffalo. So that's why I combined them in this. So otherwise, it's just a pretty picture, you know. So, yeah.
I think that was really cool to see, because sometimes those of us searching for identities and coming home, it can be intimidating to learn, you feel like, at a later age. But I think it's really inspiring and encouraging to see his beautiful artwork, and that he didn't start it till later.
Well, you're in the tribal chambers now, and we are just one band of the Minnesota Chippewa Tribe Fond du Lac Band, and this is our government building. I don't know if you had a chance to take a look around the reservation or drive around or not. I think you'll find that Fond du Lac's, all the different tribal groups are unique, but Fond du Lac Band is where they call us a checkerboard reservation, in that we don't own all the land within the boundaries of the reservation, but the band is currently working to acquire as much of the property back that they can, and so that's been a big part of one of our goals here at Fond du Lac. You get a chance to take a tour of the reservation, you'll see we have a big solar farm here, 3 megawatt solar farm. That's enough, generates enough solar electricity to power 120 homes annually with our solar array that we have. So we've been focusing on those types of renewable energies.
I remember when we first got on the bus and how quiet everybody was. Everybody was pretty much to themselves, and I knew, I know that by the end of the trip that things are going to change, because I've been a part of this in the past. But for me, it changed in a different way, to really see them supporting each other. There were some tears that the trip was ending, but those tears were not of sadness, but of joy that they got to get to know each other. They got to grow together. They got to experience things that they wouldn't have experienced otherwise. So while we were down there in that prairie island, just seeing everybody together, breaking bread together at the casino for lunch, when we had lunch at the buffet, and just seeing everybody different schools together talking, and it always feels so good. And knowing that these students will stay connected. And the students that had asked me to be their mentor after this too, is just, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good to be part of that community, part of this community, and part of our future for our community. So.
Kick back, listen and chill to what I be speaking, because what I have to say to you right now is very intriguing. I'm talking about the ways of the Ojibwe people that seem to be leaving. Yes, of course, I'm talking about the 7 teachings. So what are the 7 teachings? Number 1, respect. Respect is something that we seem to neglect, and if you take a look at the world, it's starting to have a big effect. So maybe we should all take a look in the mirror and put ourselves in check, because the world could be a lot better place if we showed each other some more respect. Number 2, truth. Truth is something that I should be spitting in the booth. Truth is something that could be easy to take or harder than your tooth. Truth is something that people claim to have all the way through the roof, but it's also something they forget about when they get caught in a coup. Truth is something that we gotta learn to express. It's gotta come through our hearts and our chests, not so much through our brains when we stress. Number 3, wisdom. Wisdom is something you obtain when you sit down and listen. And to obtain it, some of my natives went to college and some of my natives went to prison. To have wisdom is to know that you have a gift and a reason, and you maximize on it and utilize it all 4 seasons. Just know that you have a gift. Number 4, honesty. Honestly, to be honest, it ain't like reading a book or learning Ebonics. It's kind of like learning to be true, to hold, and to keep your promise. To be honest is to speak from your heart and to leave your head, and you pick apart the dark and don't speak when your vision is red. Number 5, humility. Humility is to be humble, and to be humble is to keep it together when everything's seeming to crumble. Like you in the pitch black dark in the middle of a jungle, but when adversity comes your way, you're ready to rumble. You get up after you've been knocked down, and you get up again after you tumble. Cause there's been times in my life where people tried to belittle me, and it was in those moments I had to express my humility. Number 6, courage. To be courageous is to do the right thing when you have every opportunity to do what's wrong. So I gotta take the opportunity to say good things inside of my songs. I gotta talk about what's really real and what's really going on. To be courageous is to do the right thing, and you pick apart the darkness, you see the happiness the light brings. You do what's right and you find your own light. Number 7, love. Love. It ain't always a white wedding and flying doves, but it's something that we could express to each other because we have those feelings for the ones that are above. Love is something that I'm wishing to see. Love is something that the Creator gave to us unconditionally. Love is something as simple as telling your people Gajay Wayne Amen when you see them. Aho, the 7 teachings.
Hey, Pila Maya Yellow, hey, we choose a Niwa Maya Yellow, Pila Maya Ye, Pila Maya Yellow, hey, Chanupa Huakansha Huayanku Yellow, hey, Pila Maya Yellow, hey, we choose a Niwa Maya Yellow, Pila Maya Ye, Pila Maya Yellow, hey, Takayasi.
I really encourage all the Indian education programs throughout the school districts to promote this tour and invite the kids and let them know, show them the documentary, and really encourage them to go because it's a really life learning, changing experience. It changed me the first year we went, and it really changed me this year. And it's just so much knowledge to learn, and it makes a difference when it's on hand and in person than from a textbook.